Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon Wound Pickups.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to our little show. That was about as announcery as I could muster at this moment. We're really excited that we get to keep doing this. So far, this is COVID-proof, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, in so much as that we are still able to do it. Tony is on one side of the planet, well, at least in our neighborhood, and Jared is a little farther out in a neighborhood, and it really sucks. I mean, it stinks. We all know it, but one thing that I have noticed is that I think the overall tolerance of people has risen, and we're so much more forgiving of little things that used to bother us in the past. And I if nothing else, I hope that just sticks after all this blows over. Speaking of blowing over.
I was going to say something.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Go ahead.
No, a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, and even some of the late night TV shows, I mean, I hate to say it, but the standards have dropped a little bit, in terms of sound quality and if there's video attached, sometimes video quality.
Oh, sure.
And I think people have, come to accept it. And in some ways, it's a little bit more, I guess, real than, the beautifully packaged and shot in videotape and all that stuff. I think it's a lot more real. People, aren't getting as, made up in terms of makeup and things like that on video stuff. So, I mean, in some ways it's good. And, it really points out some of the weaknesses in our infrastructure in terms of the internet itself. It seems like everybody now is at home and streaming or, online or what have you. And it's really putting a strain on a lot of the
I can't believe it still works.
Yeah.
Speaking of can't believe it still works, what do we do on the show, Tony?
I don't have no idea. No, I do have an idea. I think we like to talk to people involved in the boutique music industry.
That's what we do.
By that, I mean the makers of the boutique gear that we know and love, and some that we don't know, and some that we don't love. There's been a few of those, but we like to talk to the people behind and get the story behind the story. And these are, people that make guitars and amplifiers and pedals and accessories and pedal boards and pick guards and pickups and all that stuff too.
It's a lot of fun to have the one-on-one episodes, and we get to learn about, guitar necks and speakers and all sorts of fun stuff that you may not know much about. But here you can find out a lot about it and learn the basics.
You can be learned.
This is true. This is so true. Hey, speaking of that, who do we have on the line right now?
It's me, Ryan Ratajski.
Hey! I'll have a pepperoni with cheese, please.
Yeah.
Oh, no pizza.
All right, Ryan, what do you make? Who are you? What is this all about?
I do Fuzzrocious Pedals. I am sitting here in my workspace right now, which is in my home. I'm in New Jersey. My wife is also part of the company. She does the design work, the painting, all the cool stuff, like the stuff that's like cooler than what the pedals sound like. And then we've got our kids here. They help out too. And we make handmade effects. I was going to say the old way. Like, we hire a bunch of people in a sweatshop and we source our transistors from the Russian tanks that no.
But we do. Do you at least chain them 6 feet apart?
Yeah. We still make it all by hand. It's not assembly made, and we do screen printed stuff and we do hand painted stuff. So if you really want something that's like handmade from start to finish, then we can do that. If you need something a little bit faster, we can do that. We've been doing this since 2008, like for real, 8 or 9 years. And I'm just, I'm happy to be doing it. And I'm really lucky that I get to work in my house, especially with everything that's going on right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Ryan, we're grateful that you are, we're grateful.
We're full of great.
Yeah, we're full of great. We're grateful that you're joining us, taking time away from your family and your business and, whatever's on TV, to do this, to share your story with all of our audience out there. So we got a couple of things that we're going to hit on announcements, and then we're going to get into what's going on in our music world this week. So just hang out here for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to thank Rode Microphones for supplying our awesome gear that we do this podcast with. They have been extremely helpful, generous, and supportive of the show. And we want to say thank you to them. We are using the Rodecaster Pro Machine-O-Matic thing here. This is what's it's our little multi-channel
maybe they'll change the name to Machine-O-Matic now.
It's Machine-O-Matic.
See, and we were never allowed to touch those special things.
Don't touch my buttons.
No touching my buttons.
And then we're also using the Procaster microphone, and we disassembled everything, and each one of us are using it in our separate worlds tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much for that. I also wanted to share really quickly, we got a message from James Pegler, and he said, hey, guys, I got I'd like to share my 4 on the floor. So, well, okay, here we go. His current 4 on the floor is the MXR custom modified badass overdrive for an always-on boost with just a little bit of transparent hair. Nice. I use hair when I talk about distortion and stuff too. Second is a custom, quote, custom Ross distortion clone that I picked up at a garage sale that has no other identifying marks from the builder. I use it almost as a fuzz. That would be kind of maybe a neat one to have, just a complete rando box. The third pedal is the EHX Glove Overdrive on the 9-volt setting for higher gain. I usually stack it with the MXR, previously mentioned. My last pedal is the Danelectro Tunamelt Tremolo. I could play with the sounds that come out of this little yellow guy for hours. All right. So, I think
I'm back.
Well, we didn't even notice you left, so that's awesome. Yes.
Welcome back, Tony Baloney.
Thank you.
For the audience.
Nice to be missed.
Yeah. We appreciate your patience on the ins and outs and that little chime that you hear that I cleverly put on our last outtakes. We'll probably hear that a couple times, because that means that someone's lost a signal or is coming back in, and with the strain that we were talking about on the actual Jeff Schroeder just sent me a message. That's pretty fun.
Hey Jeff.
I'll get to your message in just a little bit, buddy. With the strain on the network, on the internet, 4 of us streaming can be a little challenging, especially at this point in time, because now everybody's like, well, shoot, my work day's over. I've been working hard all day. Time to sit down and watch some TV.
On the internet.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Anyhow, so we're going to motor on.
Let's just do it. I do have an announcement, too.
Yes.
Can I go?
Of
with
course, it's
announcement
time.
Well, I just wanted to mention that one of my favorite performers and singer-songwriter just died from complications due to COVID. Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne.
I saw that.
And That Thing You Do. And at that one, he's 52 years old, which is still a little bit younger than me, but just that one in particular hit me because, for one thing, his music, I always found it to be very uplifting and, just kind of happy poppy stuff. And I think we've lost someone that maybe brightened the world a little bit. So I'm going to tip my hat off to Adam Schlesinger. And, I've been listening to a lot of Fountains of Wayne stuff over the last couple of days. And I suggest everybody do that too.
There you go. But let's be honest, you're tipping your giant glass of bourbon. If we're just being straight.
I actually did that the night that I found out. It was a big glass.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I unfortunately think that we're going to be having to repeat a lot of messages like that.
I know. I don't look forward to that.
Hopefully, nobody that we, that are in any of our close circles, for anyone out there. Anyways, all right. So let's get on to what's going on in our music world this week. Tony Baloney is going to lead us off, and then we're going to hop over to Ryan and find out what he's been up to, and then the rest of us two chums over here. So go ahead, Tony.
Okay. Well, in between sneaking into my shop and smuggling out orders that I'm working on home with right now, I have decided that I am going to maybe better learn how to play mandolin. So I grabbed a couple of years ago, I bought Fender reissued their electric mandolins. They did a 4-string and an 8-string version. I've got one of each, but I brought the 8-string home because it sounds more like a mandolin to me. And so, to just, really go for it, I said, well, the first song I'm really going to learn better, or at least complete, is the Battle of Evermore, which is, Led Zeppelin's probably premier mandolin-based song. So in what I've been able to see is, I go online to YouTube and there's some things, and there are like some irate mandolin players because apparently Jimmy Page isn't playing the mandolin properly.
Of course not.
And he was a guitar player. And so, the big issue they have with him
is he's like playing it down at his knees or something, or what?
No. He's fingering.
Okay.
And
weird. You know what? I always thought John Paul Jones played the mandolin on those.
So did I.
No, I think it's Pagey.
Oh, okay. Everybody, quick to the internet.
Right.
All right, you're back. What did you think? Everybody yell at this podcast right now. There's John Paul Jones, you idiots. Okay.
No, it's Jim Page.
Okay.
James Page. Anyhow, the big issue that most of the more experienced mandolin players is that he hooks his thumb around to play the the upper strings,
just like on his guitar.
Well, just like on his guitar, exactly. But so anyhow, long story even longer. I just decided that I would take some of those YouTube videos and some of the stuff of Pagey playing, and trying to come up with a happy medium, I guess you'd say for that song.
Are you hooking your thumb?
I am hooking my thumb.
Yeah.
Because I kind of find that easier. I started doing that. Andy Partridge from XTC put out a couple of guitar lessons a couple years ago.
A genius, dude. Oh my gosh.
And so the one thing that he does, and he said he started doing it and now he can't stop, is when he's playing a first position D chord.
I'm so glad you went there. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
He wraps his thumb around to play the low E string on the second fret, which actually fills out the D chord further. And so now I've kind of gotten used to that myself, wrapping my finger around for certain chords on the guitar. And so it kind of came natural to me to do it on a mando, because obviously the neck is, a third of the...
Is that what you call it if you actually own a mandolin? A mando?
Yes. Me and my mando.
Yeah. I'd feel like an absolute moron if I walked in and said, yeah, I'd like to buy a mando today. Do you have any of those? No?
Drove my Lambo here. No,
you can either call it a mando or a Lin.
Yeah.
Me and my Lin.
Yeah, no, nobody says that, Tony. Ryan, what's going on in your music world, buddy? Get us out of this.
What do you think of that?
Ryan?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, what's going on
Oh.
in your guitar world? Guitar world.
Oh man, what's not going on?
How do you like to play your mandolin?
Well, first of all, why are you guys not like? Why was like someone not talking about like this is the way? Like, all I'm thinking is Mandalorian, but
Yes.
missed opportunities. No, it's been weird. I work from home anyway, so like the COVID thing is not totally counterproductive to like my workflow. But the one awesome thing that kind of came out of all this is while I'm working through one of the collabs that we're doing, and I'm working through our Croak release, which is coming up or supposed to be coming up on the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
I cleaned my entire workspace. I reorganized everything. I went crazy and ordered a rug. I ordered a table. I ordered a couch. And I'm just like, oh, I'm going to turn this into like a demo space too. And I'm going to like keep this really clean and blah, blah, blah. So it's like completely like nesting behavior. And then when I was like cleaning stuff out, I found an old dark driving like enclosure that I guess we had done a rehouse or something. And I'm like, oh yeah, I had all these ideas that I wanted to do like a V2 of this, of like change like the tone stack and really not make it what it is, like do the thing I really wanted to do for me now. So I like just like took 2 hours out of my day today and redid a pedal, and I'm just like, cool. Like, so it's, I guess with this whole COVID thing, it's allowing me, and you guys were speaking earlier about it, like people are being more tolerant of each other. They're being more patient. And I'm finding myself slowing down and really liking it. I mean, I'm still working all day and after the kids are in bed, but it's been nice to kind of just like meander through my day rather than race through it. And that's kind of just been my week. I mean, I haven't really listened to any music. It's been podcasts just because I need to have people yapping in my ear all day.
I know,
but yeah, it's been great. Like building Croaks and working on this pedal today have just been awesome. So yeah. And I got to pick up the baritone today, which was nice. I haven't done that in a while. And I guess it's one of those things, like every time I pick up this, it's a Fender Telecaster baritone. Every time I pick it up, it has these like really like light strings on it. I just get stoked on playing it again. And I'm like, why am I not using this thing more? I don't know. It's an awesome guitar. So yeah, it's been a positive music week.
I'm so glad you didn't call it a barrow.
No, we call it a Bari, B-A-R-I.
An I-tone.
Yeah. Jared, how about yourself, buddy?
Besides having some winder parts stuck in U.S. Customs for 2 weeks, things are going really well. I ordered some winder parts from Germany, and apparently they are dead in the water in New York in customs. And everybody with COVID-19 up there is probably handling the contents of the box. So
well, that's a pleasant thought.
Yes.
Right. But anyhow, more of a guitar, not winder thing, but so my wife's been home. She was laid off from work, and but we're fine. But we're fine. We're gonna be just fine. But so I haven't been able to just turn my big Marshall stacks on whenever I want. And
you're gonna teach her how to work them winders?
Right. No. So that's out of the question. Both of those things are out of the question.
Every time she goes for a run, you got to quit working and jump on. It's
not enough time. I mean, by the time you choose a guitar you want to play, she walks in the door. It's like, it's too late. But no, so I've been just using my PV Classic, and it actually turns. Now I've got that Fop Star, but that's upstairs in the living room because it's super nice. But when I'm in the basement and I want to play, I have my old PV Classic. It's kind of a half tube, half whatever.
Yeah.
And it only has one switch, so it's convenient. You just turn the one switch on, and
yeah,
you can turn a annoying and just rock out. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Just, and the guitar I have been actually playing is it's weird. I've got all these just really nice high-end Gibsons and Fenders and all this stuff, but the guitar I've been getting out is an old Electra Les Paul copy.
That's a great one. You showed that to me. That's an awesome guitar.
It's got the bolt-on neck, and it's got the fancy, it's kind of like a copy from a Gibson Les Paul Custom. It's black, but the pearl and the fretboard, that actually looks really good. It's a very has pronounced figuring, and the mother of pearl, I don't know if it's a real mother of pearl, but whatever it is just really colorful. So it's actually a pretty guitar if you're not looking at brand names and being a snob. It's actually a great playing, great sounding, light, comfortable guitar to play. It's great.
Now, does that one have the plug-in modules, or is that?
It doesn't. It doesn't. And I meant, like, when I was 14, that's the guitar. That's the guitar I had. Like, that's it. And I kind of found it about 10 years ago.
I almost bought there at the Music Around. They had an Electra. Tony, you probably saw this. They had an Electra that Explorer that had all of the buttons on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was like $80. And it was up there forever, and I kick myself for not buying that.
Yeah, that would be a cool one.
I changed the pickups and electronics out of mine and put my own stuff in and upgraded all that. It just sounds awesome. But what I did notice when I changed the stuff out, the top is actually this really cheapy plywood. I mean, the finish looks good. It all looks good, and it's yellowed where it's cream. I mean, it's great. It's a great guitar.
Was there space between the body back and the carve?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty typical of those.
But it's light though. I mean, it's light. Who cares, right? I mean, it's when you're standing up and playing it. It's, if you're not looking, you'll feel like you're playing a Strat or a Tele. Maybe it's not that light, but it's definitely not as light as an actual Gibson Les Paul of any, of a the normal model, not including the SG, of course. But anyway, it's nice. A great old guitar. I still have it. I like it, and it's kind of what not my very first guitar I ever had, but my second, and played it a lot. So
nice.
Speaking on the Electra stuff, we brought this up a long time ago, but Ryan, I know you like messing around with bass stuff too, right?
For sure, yeah. I mean, I'm a bassist first. I've always played bass, or when I did the two-piece band, I did bass and then like bass six and baritone. But yeah, I mean, I say I'm a bass player for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but one of my favorite basses of all time is the Electra Outlaw.
I've never seen it, but if it's called the Outlaw,
dude,
hopefully there's like holsters on it.
I swear you will see it and you're like, okay, I have to do anything possible to get a hold of this bass. All right, I promise you will love it.
Should I Google this?
It almost looks like a Nutter guitar, by the way.
That just says late 70s all over it.
Oh, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Everybody go out there and look up the Electra Outlaw bass and feast your eyes on that beauty. And by the way, for Brian Nutter,
funky shape, man.
Oh yeah, it's awesome, and it feels great too. Brian Nutter. The status on him, he's been really, really sick before all this COVID nonsense happened. He was really, really in bad shape, and we're hoping that he's on his way back. So Ryan, if you're hearing this, or anybody that's close to Ryan down there in Tennessee, we just let everybody know what's going on. They were doing that for a while, but I think they kind of backed off a little bit. But hope he's doing well.
An update. I got an update the other day, and
good.
He was home, and then he ate something and had to go back in. He had some sort of reaction. So I just feel so awful for the guy. He's having a heck of a time.
Can't catch a break, man.
No, he's.
Yeah, it is quite serious. So
for a time, at least he was eating and probably getting nutrition, and before he ate the wrong thing. But yeah, we're all thinking about them and trying to keep up with what's happening there. So.
Yeah, for sure.
How about you, Todd? What's going on in your week this world?
Well, okay, so I've always been a self-professed hack. Not like, I mean, I wish I wasn't, but that's just that's just what I am.
Yeah, at least you embrace it.
Well, but I'm trying to unembrace it, as it's not going to happen overnight. I know that. So typically, what I'll do is I'm like, great, I worked all day. I'm going to go down. I got to get my jams on. And this last time, I just decided, you know what? I'm literally just going to spend about a half an hour trying to find nice little pieces way up on the neck, which is, I don't drift in that territory so much. I don't, I stop at 12th Street usually, you know what I'm saying? And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna pay attention. It's gonna be probably a little painful. I'm gonna make a lot of really awful sounds, but I want to find some things that feel like they're coming from me. Not because I, looked at some tablature or something like that. So it was really fun. I flipped it up to the bridge pickup, so it just sounds a little sweeter and, woo, a little bit more and less harsh, a little bit more forgiving, a little more musical. And it was nice. And I found a couple combinations like, I don't know if this is unorthodox or not, but it sounds really nice. And so I've just been trying to push myself a little bit more in that direction as I'm writing stuff that can benefit from those little parts.
Have you tried wrapping your thumb around the low string?
I haven't. Tony, thank you for bringing up the thing that I'm most self-conscious about. I've only got a single-digit thumb.
That's right. I forgot.
Yes. I kid. I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm kidding. Yes, I am kidding. I have a fully functioning regular size thumb, everybody.
But the other one, though.
The other one, yes.
But the other thumb.
I shoot with this thumb. Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to bring that up, Todd.
Yeah, painful. I think we should do this right now.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Ryan Ratajski from Fuzzrocious. What is your 4 on the floor?
All right, number 1, always, Moog Freakbox. This pedal, I've owned it twice. I should never have sold it the first time. It's not one of the Moogs that gets like a whole lot of love per se from Moog players or just anyone alike. I think it's awesome to be able to emulate a synth in whatever you're doing. And the fact that you can like move between different waveforms on it, I think is super awesome. But I think where the pedal excels is the play between the filter and the envelope, and using an expression pedal with that just opens this pedal up to do all like the huge like filter envelope sweeps that I love to do on bass behind like wanky crazy guitars. Man, I should have never sold it the first time. I'm the kind of player that I don't keep too much around that like I don't want to play live with, and this is just the one pedal that like at least before they went out of stop making the Moog Fogers. I think this is the pedal that I would take with me to like the Scummy bar because I couldn't play without it. Numero 2, the SFX Micro Thumpinator. I think that's one of the pedals that's probably been with me like the longest. So if you're not familiar with SFX, is this company out of the UK. I believe it's just like a one man show thing, and he just kind of builds things on custom. I found about him through the TalkBass forum, and it essentially cuts off everything. I want to say it's below 50 hertz, but essentially like below the register that you actually can't humanly hear, but like it's more power for your amp to be pushing that stuff out, and then your speakers aren't doing anything with it, or you're like flubbing your speakers. So I like having that pedal around to just make sure that whatever I'm sending through, if I'm using octave stuff, or even with like some of the waveforms on the Freak box, that whatever hits the amp and then hits my speakers is the frequencies that your body's going to feel right, and your ears are actually going to hear.
I know how that feels.
I don't even, dude, my mouth has been mush all week. I think it's because I purposely have not been talking to my family. No, but if your ears aren't going to hear it, then why make your speakers work for it?
That's interesting thought.
So, and I baby my gear. I really, really do. So for me to have to go and like replace speakers is like a chore. It's not like a badge of honor for me. But yeah, that guy's probably been with me at this point, like the longest of one of like most of the things I've owned. And I've gone back and forth with like, compressors and things like that. And like the Demeter compulator, I think is absolutely amazing, but I don't need that. I wanted to make sure at least like the low end is protected.
Awesome.
Have you guys heard of SFX before?
I'm not familiar with that at all.
Sorry, I haven't.
Yeah, they're like, I think it's like this like quiet talk based thing that just maybe it's like over in the UK. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's a new one. That's what this is all about. We collect new things.
Yes,
Yeah.
SFX. Man, so when I was thinking about Four on the Floor, I was thinking about pedals that I used to own that I just don't own anymore that I absolutely love. And there was two of them. So one of them is the vintage big box reissue Rat with an LM308. It's what I like had gotten started like modding and doing all this stuff with. And I fell in love with like the tone of it. And I feel like I just had a couple special boxes at the time. So my third Four on the Floor is the Fuzzrocious Rat Tail or Cat Tail. For the band that I'm doing now, I tried to use our Dark Driving just because I love the way people sound with that especially on bass. And I'm like, I love the way everybody sounds with this. Like I should like break out of me always using the Rat Tail or Cat Tail. And I used it for like 2 months and finally admitted to myself that I just needed to go back to the Rat, like my old original, which what's now called the Cat Tail, but my old original Rat Tail, same circuit and all that stuff. But it's one of those pedals that just feels like the way I want to feel in my head. And I've left it on like the same exact settings for like probably the last 7 or 8 years. It just never, maybe like the distortion level may change a little bit, but it's that one pedal that like just helps me pop in the mix right in those grindy mids. So when cymbals are crashing and the guitar players are like either operating inside of like my bass frequencies or they're like wanking all over the place, I can still feel like I'm pushing forward and being percussive and pushy in the mix.
Yeah.
And luckily the guys I play with, like, they let me do that. Like it's my job. That's my job. And that's what I'm supposed to do. So it helps me excel at doing that.
Awesome. Love the description. That's great.
Dude, it's what I was saying. Like if I'm thinking about stuff I owned before, that vintage big box, with the reissue big box, even though like it's a bigger enclosure and it's like oddly shaped and takes weird power, you put one of those in front of me and I could play the same show. I'm not going to sound exactly the way I want to sound, but at least like it can at least get me closer. And that's why I'm way happier to put a pedal that I'm actually using and own on my Four.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Number 4.
So then my fourth would be the Roland Jet Phaser. If you guys haven't seen you can Google it. It's Larry Graham. And just type in like Larry Graham pedals. He goes on this like huge tirade, like doom bass, like playing stuff, which is absolutely crazy. And he's playing this pedal. He's talking about how like it makes these like crazy sounds. And the Roland Jet Phaser, another pedal that I've owned twice.
I haven't heard of that one either. Man, you're really bringing some new stuff here.
The complete like spaceship jet sound. It sounds like your bass is just taking off. So it'll do that like slow, like the whole thing. And then you can click it over to like the double speed. So it'll just, chop up that sound. So it's unique. It weighs like 35 pounds. It's and like, that's what I was kind of getting at before with saying like when you go back and forth for the 4 on the floor, it's like, which floor am I playing on? Am I playing like in a bar? Am I playing in my house? Like, or what do I just have to have like at every time? It's like, I go back and forth of whether that Roland Jet Phaser would make it to every show with me. But then again, like in like a perfectly like hermetically sealed world that we're growing into, maybe like I could have that pedal on at a bar show, a gross bar show with everyone 6 feet apart. Well, I mean, I guess everybody would already be 6 feet apart because nobody would be at the show anyway. So, but yeah, man, it's such a unique pedal, and it's definitely one that's inspiring to me. In terms of like what like the kind of pedals I want to be able to make. So hopefully we'll be able to actually do something that like pushes to that. Sweet. And that way, like I could have it be on my board and like not have to worry about a $450, $500 pedal.
Oh yeah.
Like crapping out.
I'm looking at them right now and you're right on point. I mean, it's $450, average. There's also a video that someone might want to go check out just based on the on the title alone. This might be the greatest gear title I've ever heard. It says it's by GearWire. It was posted in 2011. It says the title is Roland AP7 Jet Phaser is cooler than aliens and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not click on that?
So I committed like a big bad, I feel like it's like a big bad boo-boo, but like, so I've owned it twice. The second time I bought it, I was like, I don't like that it does this, or I want to be able to turn this thing off or whatever. I don't remember what the heck I did to it, but I modded it. I did 2 different mods to it. One, I can't believe that anybody bought it after that because it feels like modding your Klon or like, I don't even know, or God, what did I see the other day? Somebody on a forum was complaining about somebody modding something, and it was like, should I put a John from EAE from Electronic Audio Experiments says, is it sacrilege that I want to put a 9-volt connector onto my DAM pedal? And you're like, even when you weigh that in your mind, you're like, well, I don't want to have to open this thing up and put batteries in it all the time. Yeah. But I kind of like don't want to mess with like this like pristine, perfect, specially, handmade pedal that's done this thing. And I did that to a vintage Roland Jet Phaser with only limited numbers left in the world.
Wow.
Oops, indeed. Well, I think there will be some serious price to pay. I think they're probably gathering with pitchforks and shovels and torches in front of your home right now.
And a baseball bat or an axe.
Yeah, maybe. Or an axe. Ooh, yes.
Well, that's a very interesting 4 on the floor.
There are some that we have. I can honestly say at least half of those, maybe more, have never been on a 4 on the floor before.
Yeah.
4-4. I look forward to seeing the knobs. That's always like the cool thing is looking at what's on there. I'm like, which one are they going to pick from the Moog?
Yeah. Yeah, that one will be interesting. Especially when I get one with like, no knobs or something. I'm like, awesome. All right, now what am I going to do?
Is there a trim pot in there?
Yeah, exactly. Let's transition to the reason that we have you on the show, because we want to hear all about what Fuzzrocious is and why we should give a crap about it. Okay?
Did you see my picture I sent?
Yeah, but that's when he wasn't touring with. That's when Jonesy wasn't touring with him. That was just Page and Plant. Back in the early days, I believe Jonesy played the mandolin.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong.
In the 70s?
Yeah.
No, John Paul Jones.
Maybe live, but on the recorded version of Battle of Evermore, he is. It's Pagey playing.
Is it? I believe it. I believe either way. I do. I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But I know that
either
John
way.
Paul Jones had a 3-necked weird thing that he played live, and Jimmy Page played the guitar live.
Yeah.
And back in the 70s, in the olden days,
Plant used to play the bagpipes on a lot of the songs.
Yes.
Do you guys want to hear about the time I got perplexed by Page?
Yes.
Okay. This is a wonderful NAMM story. So this is my first NAMM, and we're sharing this booth with Small Sound and Dwarfcraft, Varellin, and I'm excited. I'm going to see like real stars and things like that, like walking around NAMM. I just don't know what to expect. And I hear that there's a band playing like in our row, and they're playing Zeppelin, and I'm just like, wow, like these guys sound really good. So I turn around and look, and there's Jimmy Page, like playing in this person's booth, like in the basement.
What?
And I'm like, okay, well, it's just him. He just has a couple of players with him. Like, I guess he's like sponsored by these guys. And I'm sitting there watching him, and I'm just, my mouth is like on the floor. And I turned to Ben Varellin from Varellin Amplifiers, and I was like, dude, like, do you believe this right now? Like, this is real life. Like, Jimmy Page is playing at the booth right next to us, and like, he's had to have work done. He looks really good. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, this is crazy, right? I'm like, oh man, I got to take a picture. Like, no one's going to believe this. So boom, I take a picture. They're done playing. People clap. And I'm retelling the story to I think like Ben and Louise from Dwarfcraft. And they're like, no, like it couldn't have been him. Like, no, there's no way it would be him. So I call Ben Varellin over. He comes like trotting over. He's like, what's up? So I reiterate the story, and he's like, oh, buddy, that was a guy from like a cover band.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was just like, my heart crushed, my stomach sank. Like it was such a humbling moment of like, oh, country boy, get out of the big city.
Thought it was. I think I know who you thought it was. There's a guy that really looks like him. I think he's from Japan. You're laughing, but I'm serious. I think he's like from Japan or something like that.
And he's blonde. Oh man.
Jimmy.
All right. You knuckleheads. Here, let's start this thing. All right, Ryan from Fuzzrocious Pedals. We want to find out what the heck is up with Fuzzrocious Pedals and the backstory and why we should care about it. Not that we already don't, but we need reaffirmation.
Wow.
I don't know whether to go hard on that. And he's like, yeah, and then I did this, and then I won my first 1,000 doing this.
Yeah.
Oh man.
How'd you get into all this, man?
So the long story short is I was playing in a band called Caval, and the two other guitar players in the band had all these effects pedals on their boards. They had these big boards. So at the time, all I had was a DD3, and I used to use that on vocals, like in my ska punk band. Back in the day, a ska punk band with a singer screamer who had a DD3, but I digress. And a DD3 and a Sansamp 3 programmable switcher, because I didn't know any better. Like I was just like playing bass, and there's distortion on the on the GK amp I was using. Like I just had like your Guitar Center like run of the mill setup. Okay. So they're like, you could sound like heavier, like you should like make your own pedals. And I'm like, what do you mean you can do that? So my buddy Lucas was like, he like looked down my board, like there's all these like Devi Ever pedals and like whatever new pedal of the week he had. And then there was all these like blank unpainted pedals. And he's like, yeah, he's like, you can like just solder these. And I'm like, oh, my dad knows how to solder. So I called my dad over. My son was like a month old. Like we were like rocking him in the chairs. My dad taught me how to solder. And as soon as I got done that first pedal and it worked, my wife is she's a fine arts major, painting major for college and stuff. So I was like, can you like paint this pedal? And so she like, did the whole thing. And I'm like, she's like, do you want to do more of these? And like, yeah, like let's do this. So I like contacted every band, like dude that like I was still like tight with from back in the day that we used to do for like touring and stuff. And some of them were in bands that were like still like touring, like larger venue touring. And I was like, yeah, I'm making pedals. Like, and it just kind of steamrolled from there where like they were telling their friends and their friends were telling their friends. And then we were on MySpace and this is like before Facebook got big. Like we had like a MySpace page and that's where we did like most of our sales. Like we had like PayPal links and stuff in there. It was nuts. Like total late early aughts of the 2000s, like Wild West. And like we grew this following on Talkbase because I was already there as like a supporting member and I was like, obviously like stoked on pedals. And it just grew from there, from like word of mouth. Like we didn't drop money on ads for years into doing this. I mean, the game has changed now, but it's just become this thing where like the kids eventually, like by the time they could hold a paintbrush, like we're like, oh, like, do you want to paint on this thing? And people are like, oh, that's so cute. I'd love a pedal that your 3-year-old painted. Except for the guy who said that he ordered a kid painted pedal and then wrote an email that it looked like his dog peed all over the enclosure.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, you realize like a kid painted this and you ordered a kid painted pedal. So he painted like clouds and lightning bolts on there. Like, sorry. And then he told me that he coached his daughter for American Idol. And I'm like, oh, so your niece or whatever, like knows what it's like to have someone tell them that their artwork or their art sucks. But anyway, so yeah, the kids are professional painters. They've been paid for their work. They do their own art. That Shannon handles all the custom art stuff. And at a certain point, we both made a decision that we were going to like start to take Fuzzrocious way more seriously. And she left her teaching job at the time. And look, we made like a plan of like, we need this X amount of dollars like saved up. Because at a certain point we were both working full-time jobs, teaching. What
were you teaching?
We're both in preschool, in inclusion classrooms. So I was doing like teacher mentoring because I was out of the classroom by that point. So just teaching teachers how to teach for preschool. And then she's back again as a preschool teacher now. So it's in Camden City, which is like, poorest city in America, and inner city, close together housing, and it's they get special funding from the state so they can give them some better opportunities. And dealing with these children and the families at the preschool level it's of the utmost importance to be able to inspire people to love learning and love their school and look at learning in a different way. So it was a really hard decision to step away from that, but she left after things had gotten completely overwhelmed, and she was really happy being at home and just painting all day. And then about 7 or 8 months after that, I left as well. And I just hit my, 2015. So I just hit my 5-year mark this March.
Awesome. And, congratulations.
Yeah, man. I am grateful and humbled that I get to do it. And at a time like this, while we're in like the whole COVID craze right now, it's very humbling when like things just slow down. Like, and it's nice in a way that things have slowed down for a reason. Like you don't question like is my company falling out of favor? Do people not like the sound of these pedals or the look of these pedals? Or like, is that why orders were slow this week or this month? And then you have this happen and you're like, okay, like there's people are still ordering, and that's awesome. And things are really, really slow right now, but I know why things are slow. So like all I can do is just like pivot and like make cool stuff. And I was mentioning before how I've just been meandering through my day a lot slower. It's gifted me with like a brand new, like invigorated sense of just creating and making things and helping people find those things. And I just want to be able to continue to make them for another 5 years, like work another job. This job allows me to do like a lot of really cool stuff and go a lot of cool places. And I don't take it for granted for a day.
Brilliant.
That's good.
That's nice.
Good.
That's a great
thanks,
little
guys.
backstory there. So, boy, you just really kind of dove into this, like
Yeah,
big time.
I think about this stuff, like especially now, man. Things are pretty dire, like no matter where you live right now, and it really, these last few weeks have really reopened my eyes. The last time this happened was I had double hernia surgery a couple of years ago, and it was a really long process for me to heal. And when I like stepped back out of bed and like could like walk out of the house again, and I was like moving like a turtle through like everything, it was like I was again really appreciative of like everything that I get to do and that I can do it. And I was gonna say Foo Fighters, it's times like these, but I won't. Yeah, man. Getting to do this pedal stuff is rad. Like we get to do collaborations with like big, huge companies and companies that are like bigger than us and companies that are our size, and band collaborations and stuff. Like it's such an awesome job, but like it's a heck of a lot of work, man. It's a real like mind screw to like operate this all the time and like keep it going and stay positive. And I don't know, I guess I'm like in this craziness. I'm actually like thankful in a way that I get to like take a step back and like appreciate.
Yeah.
Solid, man.
What are you guys appreciating right now? If there's something I don't know if you've been thinking about this stuff or like, what is this time opened up for you guys?
Well, for me, I'm like you. I'm still shocked that, when I open my email and there's, a couple of orders placed, or go to the post office and pick up some stuff, or, it still amazes me that, given what we're facing, that people are still out there, buying stuff and customizing things in my case.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for that. I sort of figured once, the shit hit the fan here, that it was going to be just a real mess, and everybody was just going to, bunker down or whatever. And it seems almost quite the opposite. I mean, I'm answering as many emails as I was before. Orders have fallen off a little bit, but not dramatically. Which is surprising. We'll see how that, another couple of months of this, who knows? But yeah, I'm thankful that, we still are able to actually do this podcast, because, it's much different than when we're all three in the same studio. Yeah. And, shooting each other, rolling eyes and shooting each other looks. So some of that is missing, but it's still something nice that at least once a week we can, get together, if not in person, at least by the internet. So.
Yeah, for sure.
There you have it.
I'm kind of in the same boat as well. It's like when I get up in the morning and I see 2 or 3 orders, I'm just elated. I'm like, wow, I can't believe. And it kind of makes sense, because there's a lot of, like teachers and people that can work from home, that have more time at home. They haven't had an income blip like a lot of other people have, like my wife has. Mm-hmm. And they want to mess with their guitars. So that's good on Tony and I, and that we get to still make product and make money and keep going. I mean, if I didn't have this, I know I wouldn't be working else. I was a bricklayer before. I don't think I'd be working now. I'd just be busting my back if I would be, but yeah, I'm very lucky as well. I could carry my wife through this time with what I'm making. So, and she has a very good salary paying job. So I really feel, I know it may sound silly to a lot of people, but I kind of feel privileged now that I get to, carry us both. And I feel more like a provider even more than ever, because it's kind of on now.
Yeah.
To make sure all the bills get paid and stuff like that. And it feels really good to take that role. It's kind of like a challenge, and I'm all for it. I'm going to do whatever I can. So that's kind of what that's opened up to me. I'm looking at it as an opportunity. As weird as that sounds, that's what it's done for me. I'm taking the bull by the horns, man. That's what I'm doing.
There you go. Well, since we're doing this thing here, honestly, I'm just glad that I've been able to hang out with my kids during the day. I mean, I'm working, thank goodness, but as an added benefit, like, of course, I'm extremely thankful for that. But I get to. We all had lunch at the table the other day, and we typically try to have dinner, everybody together, but we got to have lunch together. I was like, well, this is good. I like this part of it. But so many things. I mean, we're alive, so I'll just stop there.
There is that.
So
for now,
Ryan, what do you getting back into the backstory and the forward story on Fuzzrocious? Where did you see where things like really started to take off? Because you jumped in and you said, hey, we're going to do this. At what point did you feel that this, like, it clicked in and went into a different gear? I ask that not just to understand how your company is, but for those builders out there who are at that stage of like, hey, I've hit a plateau, or like, when does this start going, or, just some inspiration there.
Right. I think like it's maybe like one of those things where, like when a band like when they talk about like, oh, like we could tell that like we were like about to break. It was like one of those things like when Shannon and I like talk about it and we think back to where to like what we were feeling when things started to get crazy. It was we got connected with Troy Van Leeuwen from Queens of the Stone Age, A Perfect Circle, Failure.
You had me at Queens of the Stone Age, but go ahead.
So we had got connected. A friend had connected us because we had made the heliotropic pedal, and we developed first a working relationship, and then got to spend a little bit more time with the Queens guys and stuff. And I think them talking about the pedals and people seeing it on the boards so often, really that was a big impetus for us. I think like they were getting a lot of coverage around that record at the time. And I think that was I don't know. We also got a cease and desist from a company, and it was like one of those big affirming things. And I want to say it was like 2012 or something like that. Like we got a cease and desist, and like it was super duper scary, but at the same time it was like, oh, like people are noticing who we are and what we do, whether that's good or bad. And the orders are still coming in, so like that's kind of awesome. There's no like one moment that Shannon and I can like really pinpoint, but when you start really questioning yourself as to whether you want to continue working 2 full-time jobs, when if you just worked one of those jobs you think everything can be paid, and then maybe having more time to focus on it allows you to then grow that business, which when we jumped ship and started doing that, then we made the right decision. Essentially, like all the bills were paid, all the insurance was paid, all that stuff. So a lot of times we'll talk about like right around that 2012 mark is when we started to like work with some more notable acts. And I think that really, really helped. And that was at a time too, when we still weren't advertising. So much of getting the word out now is advertising. Word of mouth is slowing down because it's around that time when we started really getting, I guess, we're not big, but like when we were getting bigger, was at that time when like pedals were still new to a lot of people, and now they're everywhere. They're everywhere. So it's very, very easy to be lost in the mix, whether you're a legacy company or not. I'm squawking. So
no, that's all super helpful. As you were doing this, I'm assuming that as you're building at some point, like you get inspirations to do one thing, but were you ever hitting like where you weren't able to come up with the next thing, and where maybe has that ever been a thing, or have you guys just been like on it?
Yeah, and like the writer's block kind of thing. Yeah. There was a band we were working with. The one guitar player was looking for a very specific sound so he can punch through the two other guitar players in the band. So it's a three guitar player band. And so we had this idea, and like we had lots of ideas.
Needs a Mando.
And I like,
or a Lynn.
I put everything on the breadboard, and we've got it all. It's like still written on my whiteboard right here of like how we want the signal path to go, and what we want it all to do. And I started like breadboarding it, and nothing came out. And then like I wiped the board and then started over, and it still sounded like crap. Like I just couldn't do the thing that my brain could hear and that they wanted me to do. So it's still sitting here in limbo, and it's been over a year. I just can't do it the way I want to do it. And the only way around that is to, I have apologized that I just can't make that thing that they want yet. And I've just got it sitting on a breadboard, and I'll come back to it when I feel inspired. Like I said, I grabbed that old Dark Driving this week and was like, cool, I'm going to like make a V2 version of it. Like something will inspire me at some point. So I don't get too wrapped up in like not being able to complete a job, but I'll get to it. It's try to be a little bit more zen about it, especially now.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you didn't automatically just go, oh, I made one pedal, therefore I know how to make all these other kind of pedals, right?
Right.
So I'm very interested from just how people get into something that they got past that first step, and then now they're at the 12th. What happened between the first step and the 12th that they're like, what were those stages? So as you started to get into more complex ideas, how did you grow or learn how to do these circuits and complete these sounds that you were trying to capture? So
I would say that the most important thing to grow, to learn how to make pedals and be better at this is through failure. I've messed up so many times in building things where, like, take example, like the Gray Stash, the first pedal that we were making, I was making them on strip board. So for those that don't know, like strip board it's like, it looks similar to perf board, or like this, like the stuff you would hang like your tools on the wall. It looks like that, but tiny. And then there's literal strips of metal that goes on these lines that is your conductive surface. And where you don't want things to connect, you drill holes through them. It is a long, tedious process, but the really cool thing about that is you learn by looking at what connects to what and what doesn't connect to what, why these things start to do that. And this is shy of like reading an electrical engineering book or taking classes or anything. I learned in the beginning for how to make things on a more mass-produced level. I say mass-produced, like we're making thousands of things, like mass-produced as fast as one person can build them.
Right.
But yeah, I messed up so many gray stashes, and now when I build them now and something doesn't work right, you're like, oh yeah, it's doing that thing that it did. Like, oh, it's this transistor. Oh, you flipped this, or you got the wrong valve, the wrong part, in this section of the circuit. And if you feel comfortable with one circuit, then you start on like one or two other things that you haven't done before. So like logically, I went from muff to rat, and then from rat to OCD, like the big things that people were working off of way back in the late aughts of the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And from stripboard, we went to PCB. Brian from Small Sound Big Sound here in Philadelphia. And I say here, like where we are is so close to Philadelphia. Brian helped us step up to do PCBs. And that was, again, a huge learning process because I didn't understand how all of it really worked. And then you start to get, savvy with that. And from there, it was like getting onto like getting a breadboard. And I think the breadboard, when I'm talking about failure before like screwing up things, failure on a breadboard is a whole different thing because you may have knocked something out of place and like you have to go back and figure it all out. So I take like lots of pictures of things as I go. And but the awesome thing about that breadboard is like you can literally change a part and then go back and forth, or A/B the two parts like right on the fly. And it's that's been the other really cool thing to understand or try and understand or just screw with or like try and break the op amp that you're working with or something else. It's freeing in a way because you're not tethered to like a PCB design or you're not tethered to like that one strip board that you like cut out and whatever. You're like trying to like solder pieces on top of pieces on top of other pieces and looping this over here. It's been really neat. And then the last piece is reaching out for help. People talk about all the time, but I mean, this community is awesome. If I have a question about something and just don't understand why a circuit is doing a certain thing or not doing a certain thing, or why I can't do something else, I have no problem like putting my head down and like asking, like Nick from Dunwich, be like, I don't know why this is doing this, like. And then I'll be like, oh, well, it's doing this because blah, blah, blah. And then you learn that thing, so you don't need to make that mistake again, or you can incorporate that into your future builds. So, yeah, I mean, like failure, practicing, like feeling confident before you move up to the next step of what you're doing. I definitely learned early on, like not to like run before you walk when like I took orders for like that first set of gray stashes and like 7 of like the first like 20 didn't work and I didn't know why. And it was like something stupid. Mm-hmm. And like, well, maybe I shouldn't have taken on 20 orders before I like really could build like a gray stash from start to finish and not screw up.
Yeah. Oh man.
Lessons learned.
Hey,
yeah.
The breadboard thing, for those who might be listening, not for like the 100th time or whatever, but you might be new to all of this stuff. Can you explain just a little bit what a breadboard is, what resource, maybe if there's a resource that you think is helpful to get your head around it?
Sure. So a breadboard is, if you picture a Chinese, not a Chinese checkers board because it's not shaped like that. Picture a rectangle, and there are, say, 100 holes. So you have 10 rows of 10 holes. So making 100 holes in like a rectangular area, or a square area, whatever you want it to be.
Could I have it as a circle?
You could have it in a circle. on one side of on strips that are going down vertically, you have your positive and your negative input, So they're like all bridged together. So you can run positive power, negative power to where you need to go. And then throughout the middle of this, there are horizontal strips. And essentially it's the same idea as your strip board that you're doing before. You're laying out a circuit so that a resistor connects to pin 2 of an op amp. Out of pin 3 of the op amp may come a capacitor and another capacitor that goes somewhere else. It allows you to easily move pieces from one place to another and create your own circuits in an open, quote unquote, like safer environment. Do all of your work. You don't have to anything down, stick everything down into the holes, and you've created a connection. So, I mean, you can literally go like places like freestompboxes.org and DIY stomp boxes, and people like Mad Bean and things like that, General Guitar Gadgets and BYOC, or even like if you want to look on like the Wayback Machine, and you go into Google and you go to like the Wayback, and you can put in a like Beavis audio research. And there's like old like resources on there. There's a ton of stuff that you can get into if you want to learn how to do this stuff. So if you're looking to get into breadboarding and you want to try this, you can get it from Tayda, Tayda, Tayda Electronics. You can probably get them from some places here in the U.S. like Small Bear Electronics. But if price is your option and this is like your very first foray, maybe you don't want to spend as much money on your first go at a breadboard, because they come in all different sizes and shapes and all kinds of fancy things. But you can get it for like under $2. So you can like get your parts together that you want to do and then just start playing. Like, and if you really don't want to be playing a guitar while you're trying to do this stuff, try oscillators. There's a million really cool resources for easy hookups for oscillator chips that just generate a tone, and you can literally plug and play and like break the oscillator, in different ways, and almost no way is wrong until the thing, sizzles out and dies.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just actually popped over to Tayda, and what's interesting is whenever we ask that question, we always get new resources, and that's one of the things I love. There's not like one place to go for any of this. There's not one method of doing it. There are so many ways to do these things, and I think that is it can be really freeing because if there's only one way or only one or two ways, if you're not doing it right, then it's like, well, crap. Then I guess I'm just never going to crack this nut. But with so many resources, and like you said, so many people in the industry that are willing to help, it's an opportunity. People, build something.
I mean, you can put it this way too. Like everybody, when you go to a workplace where people are working together, everyone's not doing the same job. So maybe if like you've been like soldering pedals and none of them work and you're just not getting any better, maybe you're the think person. Like maybe you're the person that can design it on the breadboard, but maybe someone else needs to actually do the operation. It's a divide and conquer kind of thing. So
you said that.
Yeah, I mean, like soldering might not be for you, or like drilling may be for this. Like this person's excellent with tools. Okay, well, I'll put them on the drill press. Or like I'm just the kind of person that likes to put my head down and like give me the work to do. All right, well then you can be the person that like stuffs all the PCBs, or you can be the person that does final construction. Like just maybe working with one other person to at least to get started and get your feet wet. If you're not confident in something that you're doing, doesn't mean you have to work together forever or like create a brand new company, but like at least you can take advantage of each other not doing, like if it's just going to be a hobby for a while, why not?
I like that. All I could think about was soldering may not be your cup of tea, but you may be a brain man. Sign up to find out your place in Guitar World today.
Want to know more?
I love that you said that, for real, because the people maybe who aren't running a pedal company or a guitar company or amp company or whatever, you're like, how do all these people do all of the stuff? And to a large degree, many of them do. But that doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. Big Ear is a great example of that. And I mean, he's very open about like his role in the whole thing. Having an idea or coming up with a sound that might actually completely stymie somebody that might actually be very good at creating circuits. They could create circuits all day long, but they can't. Maybe they're not the greatest idea person, or they don't have a vision for like what the pedal is called or what the brand is or anything like that. So that's where we've seen so much and heard so much about the help and the co-working situations that people are doing to make things. And it's really great. It's very inspiring for someone who is looking kind of on the outside in. Well, Ryan, we really appreciate you sharing all about Fuzzrocious and all of the great things that you and your family are contributing to our guitar world. And for those who still haven't gone to Fuzzrocious yet, make sure you get over there and check out all of the wares that Ryan's got. And gentlemen, Jared.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your favorite segment of the Guitar Knobs podcast. Not really, the guest usually is, but instead it's time for Would You Rather? All right. Would you rather? Since the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame closing, you have access to the entire guitar collection. Holy smokes. Would you rather be able to borrow any guitar for a week at a time, or one guitar that you can keep forever?
Now, just to clarify, it didn't close forever, everybody.
No. It's just closed to the public right now.
Yes.
Closed for the
So
night.
we don't need people raiding the
They're getting the baseball bats, pitchforks, and torches.
Jared said it was closed and we could have these.
Well, it's down there by the Browns Stadium, so
Yeah, that may happen. All right. Yeah. So you get to have one guitar a week out of the entire guitar collection.
But you don't get to keep it.
You
have to keep it. It's like a library book.
Or you get to walk in, take one, and run.
Yeah, that's
one
right.
forever.
Keeping it forever.
Yes. All right. Tony, what are you doing?
This one, boy, I've been to the Rock Hall a couple of times, and
Is that what you call it? The Rock Hall?
yeah, the Rock Hall.
Climbing the Rock Hall.
Rocka. It's the Rocka.
Ernarhoff.
Jeez.
It's the Ernarhoff. And they've got some really cool stuff in there.
For the record, I don't think that everybody has to know what's in it. Just assume that whatever you're thinking of is in there. Okay? Just so we're clear. All
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there are some very special instruments there. I mean, like there's the Beatles Hall and the Stones Hall and everything else. So all of the iconic guitars are there.
I mean, I was there a few months ago, so
that's right.
I pretty much know what's in there now, somewhat.
So
a lot of like Stevie Ray Vaughan guitars and
Imagine any of your favorite players'
Dragons.
guitars in the Hall of Fame. Well, we've established what the Hall of Fame is. Pick your thing.
Let's drag this out even further.
No, go.
I am gonna do the Guitar a Week program, just so I have the ability to say that I've been able to play this guitar, that guitar. Jared can give you the entire list if you go to his website.
I'm surprised.
You do.
I'm surprised at you. I thought you'd run in, grab John Lennon's Rick and bail.
I really did think about that, and
because it's there.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, and that's not his very first one. His very first one's in Japan, but
yeah, it doesn't count. It's
the guy that plays Jimmy Page from Japan plays it.
Exactly.
Oh, brother. All right, so you're doing the one a week game.
I'm going to do the one a week only because it would be fun to just, to lay your hands on all these things. And some of them probably suck, but some of them are probably pretty good, and they probably sound good. So yeah, I'm going to take it
first.
I'd probably grab the John Lennon 325. So. Yeah. But beyond that, there's so many other cool things in there. I would be like a kid in a candy store and just, I just want to try out everything. So yeah, the one a week library program is going to be my choice.
Awesome. Okay. Jared.
I'm definitely doing the one a week. I don't have to keep one because I'm not going to live forever. Right.
Wow.
But the first one I'm going to grab,
Mr. Sunshine.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. None of us are. Sorry. But the first one I'm going to grab would be Keith Richards' Bigsby Burst. It's got a Bigsby. Vibrato on. I saw that up close. I have pictures of it. Uh-huh. And then I'll turn that in a week later, and then grab Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar, and I'll just keep going and. Whatever.
Yeah.
Don Felder's white double neck was in there at one time, and they had duffel bags full of hotel keys.
That is the most un-rock and roll name ever, by the way.
Don Felder.
Hey, Donnie.
Don Felder.
Donnie Felds.
I'm a rock god.
He Felder. Yeah. So
Felder. Yeah. Darn near killed her.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh boy.
Hey, there goes the clean rating.
So of course, I want to try them all.
All right.
Who didn't want to try them all?
Welcome to the team, Jared.
What if the one you take that you want forever hasn't been played in 40 years, and you spend a bunch of money to get it all? I don't care whose it is, to be honest with you. Because you ain't going to sound like them just playing that guitar.
Yeah. Spending money to fix up a legendary guitar, says the guy who's got like 17 phaser pedals.
I would.
All right. Let's go over to Ryan.
Oh, you guys ready for this?
Yes.
You nerds, you're trying to like take one a week and whatever, and you're like taking this one or taking that one. Like, you're not thinking about your travel back and forth. Like, you've got to go there and pick this guitar up and go get it. So I'm going to do the best thing in the world. I'm going to take that Jimmy Strat and I'm going to take it home and I'm going to wire it up so it's right-handed again. And I'm going to play that Strat with my teeth and my toes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to light that on fire in my backyard and I'm going to watch it burn.
Wow. And then no one else can ever have it.
No, you can do. You know what? That would be great because that's actually a replica. They would just
Jared.
They would actually
what are you doing?
They would put another replica of that in.
Well, actually,
Santa Claus is real. Santa Claus is real.
I'll take the one that's not the replica, and I'm going to string it up right-handed.
Yeah, you're going to do the real thing.
My backyard
and ignore everything.
I want to be there.
Said.
I want to be there for that because I'll be right there with you, laughing, watching.
Yeah,
and with I'll have a fire extinguisher.
Okay,
by the way, we're only like 2.5 hours.
How about you?
Yeah.
How about you, Todd? Todd,
yes, I'm just trying to get over Jared. Yes, I am here. All right.
I know I'm not playing nice.
I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do.
He must not have had supper yet because he's kind of grumpy.
I had too much.
I haven't. The soup's over there still.
No, Jared, you're not grumpy.
I'm not grumpy. I'm fine.
You're just being loopy. All right, here we go. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to bend the rules a little bit.
No.
I'm walking in. I'm grabbing Joe Strummer's Telecaster.
Okay.
I'm walking out. On the way out, and I know that it exists there because I've seen it, I'm going to smash the glass with Joe Strummer's Telecaster and grab Johnny Cash's inlaid Johnny Cash inlay acoustic guitar, and then I'm running. That's what I'm doing. What's up with that?
I don't like how you bend the rules when it comes to you, but if you want to bend the rules.
Yes,
it's ironic.
I have to pay the bill, so.
What I said about the Jimi Hendrix guitar is actually true. That is actual a replica.
We believe you,
Jared,
Jared, but
what?
this is a fantasy.
Yes.
So we're going to assume that everything that's on display is the real McCoy.
Yes.
Of my rock and roll band.
So with the Johnny Cash stash,
Yes.
when people take your picture, you always going to put the middle finger up? Is that only when you're running from the law?
Anyways.
You look so cool.
Yeah. It's one of the first. It's literally the first guitar you see when you walk into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How do you not smash the glass and take that with Joe Strummer's Telecaster?
I mean, if you take that, then I'll have no choice than to have.
You already had your time. Anyways,
Elvis's bass.
we're going to go over to the thing
because I think that guitar is one of a kind. I've never seen any other guitar like that. The Elvis bass 6-string SG.
Okay, so anyways,
and it's not or
Jared, shut it. Oh my gosh. See, I can't give him the hand across the neck thing or threaten him with my eyeballs.
You wouldn't even be able to at the thing. You know,
no, I know, because you would crush me. All right,
Yeah,
hey everybody. We've got a couple people to thank really quick.
So at this point in the show, we like to thank a special group of people. Some might call them executive producers. That's what we do. But wait, in addition to the executive producers, we have a special level of executive producer called the Grand Poobahs. So you may be asking yourself, how can I become an executive producer or maybe even a Grand Poobah? Well, head over to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs and you will find the way. You can participate in a couple of different levels, and each level comes with its own beautiful collection of swag, and that would be things like barefoot buttons and T-shirts and picks and stickers and giveaways.
Yes.
Oh, yes, giveaways.
Lots of that, and we just got a whole batch of new barefoot buttons.
Nice.
Now shipping's a little rough right now for some people, so just be patient, but it'll get there.
You will get it. At the executive producer level, there's something in addition to all that great stuff. There's something that happens. And Jared, what would that be?
Like about right now, you get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, so let's start. We talked a little bit about the Grand Poobahs. Let's just start with them. That's Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Cody Lane, Cody Foster, Sean S. and Tommy Manasco. But let's not forget our regular executive producers and something exciting. In spite of all of the pandemic of 2020, we have a new executive producer. So we'd like to welcome aboard James Pennington.
Hey, James Pennington.
Thanks.
I'm pretty sure he's not British, but anyways.
Yes, but he could be.
Yes.
Okay. Well, in addition to James, we'd like to thank Matt Hart, James White, Brett Alexander, Justin Jones, Doug Gann, Tim Nowak, John Esterle, Chris Heidel, Brad Partridge, Tyler Bray, John Anglin, Anthony Lathrop, Johnny Knowles, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Brian Robison, Ken Sayers, Michael Van Zant, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Chris Kearney, John Daly, Martin Cliff, and Tom Brazen.
All right. That is one heck of a list. We are so proud to have you guys supporting our show. Ladies and gentlemen, and for those who are at the other levels, honestly, we cannot thank you enough. It warms our hearts. Please be patient with the shipping of all the bits and pieces. A special shout out to Sarah Cadence, all the way out in Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong, might be Singapore, way over there. She's been very patient, and we're appreciative of that. So Ryan, where can people find your stuff?
Fuzzrociouspedals.com. You go there, you can get our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all the new pedals and cool stuff.
Awesome. And Tony Baloney?
Go over to pickguardian.com. There you can see the many things that I make. If you have something special that you need or you can't find where you can order it on the page, shoot me an email and I will take care of you personally. If you want to see some of the special projects and things that we talk about from time to time, go over to Instagram and Pick Guardian and the number 1.
Brilliant. Jared?
So yes, I build great.
There was
pickups.
a comma in there, by the way. Just those.
Yes, that's true. So yes, I build pretty good pickups. Go to BrandonWildPickups.com. I've got some pretty cool pickups on my website. There's even stuff that I do that's not listed. Go to Instagram and see a bunch of rewinds and things that I'm doing. I show pickups on the leaders and things like that. And most of all, what's exciting right now through this awful, crappy pandemic crap that we're all enduring, go to my website and put in the word home and get 15% off your order.
That's
Wowzers.
nice,
Outstanding.
Good job, buddy.
That's correct.
Thank you, my friend. You can send me an email, Todd at
Todd, how can people
theguitarknobs.com.
get a hold of you?
I am going to throttle you, Tony. You can shoot me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. You can also send me a DM at Guitar Knobs on Instagram. And I usually send all those messages over to the boys so that we can all chime in and laugh and guffaw and
I love a good guffaw.
yes, who doesn't? And wipe the tears from each other's eyes when it's something touching. So please send us. Look, you guys all have time, right? Everybody has a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
If you've been listening to the show, we want to hear from you. If you have a would you rather, we want to read it. Okay?
Yes.
Send us those things. If you're on Instagram, it's so easy. Your thumb is right there. Just move it over a little bit and hit follow. All right? It's a piece of cake. Just do it. It'll make us very happy. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for you listening. Ryan, thank you so much for doing what you do with Fuzzrocious. Thank you for spending the time with us to share your story. We really appreciate you and we like you.
Guys, I'm glad I got to do this. Thank you. I feel like I'm part of the club now.
It's been a long time coming. We've been trying. All of us.
It's been like, it's been quite a while.
Yeah.
But I want to come back on when I get something new.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Doors always open, my friend.
Cool.
All right, everybody. Have a great guitar week amongst all the muck out there. Stay safe, stay healthy, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Not do the super long version. Yeah.
You want it extended, you said?
Okay. Jared, Tone.
I'll have
It'll
some.
be hard to eat soup
I'll have some.
while I'm doing this. It's right in front of your face here. Came out the other end a little soiled, but we are better for it. Jared, you back yet there, dude?
No.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.